Want to flex some ancient Sumerian? Of course you do. Let's crack a couple of lines from this 4,000-year-old praise poem to an ancient Sumerian king. Today we're going back to school, Sumerian style. So in a previous video we did translate one of the lines from this poem, which is known as the praise poem of Shulgi. Now Shulgi was a very powerful king from the Ur III, or the Sumerian Renaissance era, and son of Ur-Nammu, who founded this era. Now in the Sumerian school systems, or the Babylonian school systems known as the Adubba, which translates literally to the House of Tablets, they used a series of tablets called the Decad, so a series of 10 tablets that were used as a pedagogical tool to help teach the Sumerian language to the Babylonian speakers who by that point didn't speak Sumerian. So these are the 3 lines we're looking at today, so of course as always I will read it in Sumerian and then we'll break it down and translate it into English. So in Sumerian it reads, Piring igi khush shumgalatura men, lugal anubda limuba men, nagaras sipal sangiga men. So jumping straight into it, so from the top we have Piring, which means lion, and then we have Igi, which means eye or to look, and then we have Khush, which means to be furious or angry. So we could translate that very first section as a lion that looks angry. And then we have Ashumgale. So Ashum means snake, and Gal is the adjective which means great. So quite literally, the big snake, which translates to the dragon. And then we have the E ergative case marker, which normally marks the subject of a transitive sentence. And then finally for this line we have tudamen. So tud is the verb which means to bear or to give birth to, and then we have main, which is the enclitic copula, which means I am or you are. So then we have lugal anubda limubamen. So lugal means king, which means great man or big man, and then we have anubda. So as you can see here, anubda, which means quarter. And you'll notice in the transliteration the number 4, so the pronunciation of number 4 is actually limu. That's the most attested word for 4. And then as we know, main is the copular case, as we've just mentioned, I am. Now on to the very final line. So the first word we have is nagada, which means a herdsman. Then we have sipad, which means shepherd. And then we have sangiga, so sang means head, and then gig is the word to be black, and then we have the G, which carries over from the gig, and the A is likely the adjective marker as it's attached to the descriptive term, so to be black. And then of course we have again the enclitic copula, I am. So a final translation now for each line. So the top one I would translate as I am a fierce looking lion, begotten by a dragon. Then for the second line we would have I am the king of the 4 quarters, so of the known universe or of the known world. And then finally we have I am the herdsman, the shepherd of the black-headed people, which is a term that the Sumerians called themselves, likely referring to their hair rather than their skin. Thanks for watching.